God, you don't look sick.
Thanks, Karen. I guess I'll just return this pain and fatigue to the store.
Hey, welcome back to Chronic and Chaotic. I'm Skylar.
And I'm Jenna, and we are so glad you're here for episode 2! Today's theme is invisible, not imaginary.
That hits because living with chronic illness or neurodivergence often means dealing with things people can't see, and then those people assume it's not real.
Exactly. But just because it's invisible doesn't mean it's not valid.
Today we're going to go through and do segments. We kind of listed it out in segments. Segment 1, we're just going to kind of talk about our own experiences and talk about the difference between validation and gaslighting, because that's a huge thing when you have an invisible illness or are neurodivergent. And then segment 2, we're going to call out common quirks that are actually symptoms. And then we're going to go into segment 3, which will be viewer stories, questions, and advice. And then segment 4 will be things I pretend are normal. And that will be where we each share our fake it moment, where we say one thing that we pretend is normal.
We expose ourselves.
We expose ourselves, and then at the end we reclaim the narrative, and that could be something like needing help doesn't equal failure. So let's just start at the beginning and talk about our personal examples and discuss the emotional toll of invisible illness.
Do it.
Okay, so I think the biggest thing that I want to bring up today is if you do have an invisible illness, you are completely valid and you are seen. Okay, so let's start off there. I think as people that are both neurodivergent and both physically disabled, it's hard sometimes because we've always kind of been there is that sense of gaslighting from people, and we'll talk about that later when we talk about validation versus gaslighting. And like when people are talking to you, a lot of the time they're like, oh, well, you're just tired and that's why you hurt. And that's not necessarily true. Like me personally, I have a bulging disc and 2 dehydrated discs in my back. That's why my back hurts. It's not because I'm tired. Just because you can't see that my back is literally crushing in on itself doesn't mean that it's not actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you can't see that Jenna's hip is broken doesn't mean that it's not actually happening.
I am literally missing the right hip joint. It's just not there.
And I think it's the same exact thing for neurodivergence. You don't have to look sick to be sick. You don't have to look anxious. You don't have to be having a meltdown on the floor to be having a meltdown in your head. That's a huge thing. I dissociate. I sometimes just need alone time to just be by myself to think and process my feelings, and it's I remember there was this one day, and it was when I had first gotten diagnosed with anxiety, and there had been an accident right outside my grandma's house, and I had gotten so scared because the lady in the car was, screaming. She was hurt, and I was scared for her. And so then I was having an anxiety attack, but I was with somebody who knew nothing about it, who knew nothing about anxiety.
Yeah.
And she made a very invalidating comment towards me when I asked to call my mom. And she kind of made this comment, "Oh, is it one of those anxiety things?" And I just, it makes you feel really small when somebody doesn't believe that you're having one of those moments, or you're having something going on with you.
Yeah. Like when people just mock you, be like, "Oh, let me guess." Like it's a very real thing, you know.
It is, and I think it should be treated the same as is if, it was like a scrape or a bruise, or anything that you could see, because it does affect us the same way. Anxiety can give you physical symptoms. It
Yeah.
can make you shiver, make you have nausea, make you hot, cold. It can give you IBS.
Mhm.
I mean, it can give you so many different physical things, and people don't talk about that enough, that anxiety and depression, and especially things like autism, can have those physical symptoms with them. So, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that and bring, a little bit of light on that. And know that if you feel those things, and you feel, "Oh my God, I have all this anxiety and I get so cold when I have anxiety," that's not something you've made up in your head. That is something that actually happens. Those are physical things that happen when you get anxiety. Your body temperature can change because it messes with your nervous system.
Mhm.
It's something that is really happening.
It's real and it sucks, and that's valid. Sometimes it just sucks, and that's okay.
And me and Jenna really went on like a deep dive. Is it okay to not be okay? Is it okay for things to suck sometimes? Because Jenna, has been going through a really hard time, and Jenna can,
Especially the past few years. Yeah.
yeah. And she was having a really hard day, and I looked at her and I said, "Do you think it's okay to not be okay?" And I think she said something along the lines of like, "I don't know," or so. I pulled up an article by a licensed,
You
psychiatrist, and
did.
I started reading it. And like the conclusion was is that it's okay to not be okay, because at least you're feeling something. Because at least you're feeling your emotions, and you're going through your emotions.
And I think it's really important to have somebody in your life the way I have a Sky, because they made me feel validated and safe to show my emotions. And they let me know, hey, it's okay to not be okay. And they didn't try and gaslight me and say, no, that's not what you're feeling. You are feeling this, and it's okay, and I'm here. You want to find a lot of people that are in your corner like that in your life, because if not, then it gets really lonely, and you don't want to have all of that anxiety bubbling up inside of you. That's not a good thing to do.
Yeah, and I think this will be a really good time to talk about the difference between validation and gaslighting, because that's a
Yes.
huge thing,
Ooh, transition.
especially um especially for people who are watching this, that are taking care of somebody who has mental illness, or who has a physical disability, or somebody who is taking care of themselves, who is trying to validate themselves rather than gaslight themselves.
Mm-hmm.
um
Guilty.
Validation versus gaslighting. It's a "you don't look sick" moment, or You're just being dramatic. That's not ignorance. That's gaslighting.
You're not tired, you're just depressed, or maybe you're just stressed. No, I'm physically, like, my body is attacking itself, Karen, but thanks for diagnosing me from your couch.
And then you start to second guess yourself and you start wondering, am I imagining all of this? Am I just being dramatic?
Which is where validation comes in. Like, validation is when someone listens, acknowledges, and supports your experience without judgment. It doesn't matter if they understand the full picture. What matters is them believing.
Like when someone asks, what's your pain level today? And instead of jumping to fix it, they say, I'm sorry you're dealing with that. It's so simple, but it's everything.
And it's important to find people, again, I'll say, it's important to find people who validate you like that. Like, because it's just, it's exhausting when you have to fight just to be heard, and even more draining when you're being told that your symptoms are not real.
Validation isn't just about support. It's about knowing that your experience is seen. And when you reclaim that, you take back your power from the gaslighters.
Exactly. And we should all be able to say, like, that's my reality without anyone dismissing it as a fantasy.
And that's a wrap on this mental health chat. Let's move on to the next segment before Karen tries to diagnose me again.
Welcome to That's Not a Vibe, That's a Symptom. Because if it were just a vibe, I wouldn't need a heating pad, 3 meds, and a will to live just to get out of bed.
We're going to call out common quirks that are actually symptoms, misunderstood behaviors, and normalize curiosity about symptoms over assumptions. Let's start with something that me and Jenna both have a hard time with: difficulty with eye contact. A lot of the time, people assume that we're being rude or evasive when it's actually just us having a coping mechanism for sensory overload or social anxiety. And it's okay that people are intrigued and just ask us. And you don't have to be rude about it. Just ask, hey, why don't you make eye contact? It's as simple as that.
I mean, yeah, like if you're curious, you could just ask. I've had people ask me, like, am I boring you? But it's literally like whenever I am making eye contact with somebody, especially while I'm trying to talk, it makes me forget everything I'm saying, and it makes me super anxious. I literally, like, if I make eye contact with you, it's for like 2 seconds and that's it. That's it. And I'm going to look at the ground, and then I'm going to look at the wall. I can't even like look into the camera because I'm just like, I'm just like, I'm going to forget everything I'm saying. So
Yeah, and that's why a lot of the time you see us looking over here,
it's
looking
like,
over there.
look over here, look over there.
You
Like,
see
oh,
us
what's
looking
that?
over here. What's that? The next thing is mood swings or irritability. People think you're crazy when in fact your mood shifts are just caused by chronic illness or neurodivergence,
Mm-hmm.
which is huge. I have PCOS. It's a hormonal imbalance. So I do have mood swings and irritability on top of my anxiety and my depression. So I do have those mood swings that, people may just see as crazy. I'm not crazy. I have an actual chronic illness and I have actual neurodivergency. It's not a vibe.
No, it's definitely not a vibe. I have really bad anxiety, and it's been acting up a lot recently. And you know, I tend to, not on purpose, but I tend to, like, it sounds like I'm getting mad at you, or you know, I sound like I'm just upset, or it's just out of the blue. I'll start my sentence over. Well, what was I talking about?
And this segment was brought to you by ADHD.
Yeah. You should keep that. You should keep that.
I don't even know how I'm gonna edit this. Oh, we're just.
It'll be funny. It'll be funny. I experience the same thing when like I'm super anxious, and it'll sound like I'm getting mad at somebody, or I just start bursting into, I'm not even just talking about like just a little tear. No, I'm like ah! I just, and nobody gets what I'm feeling. Okay, nobody gets it until I tell them verbally. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that you have to deal with me all the time and my anxiety,
Have to deal
because
with you.
because I will just, I'll snap on accident, and then I will just start sobbing my eyes out and be like, I just ruined everything. But
And
that's just
it's just
it's just a meltdown.
sometimes we just have those moments and we have meltdowns, and
Yeah.
you know we're not being dramatic. It's just something that happens in our lives, and we just are who we are, and things like this just happen. So yeah, the next time someone says you're just dramatic, remind them some of us are out here confusing heart palpitations for social anxiety and vice versa.
Speaking of chaotic experiences, y'all sent in some wild, heartfelt, and painfully relatable stories. So let's get into them.
It's time for viewer stories, questions, and advice, aka our favorite form of emotional group therapy. A listener from the Face Bible sent in a story of theirs. They said, I have no addiction or history of addiction, and I was cold cut off all my pain meds and put on a Suboxone, which, if you guys don't know, that is a medication to treat opioid addiction. They said Suboxone doesn't treat or manage my pain at all, and the doctor walked out of the room while I was crying in agony at a mental health hospital. This is crazy. I would like to say that I've been to a lot of doctors. I've been to a lot of hospitals, and I've talked to pain management before. My pain management is not very nice. They're not very nice people. They think they know everything. I'm just going to put them on blast here. They think they know everything. And pretty much they're like, get injections or rot away, Pretty much that's their options. Get injections, get procedures, or rot away in your bed. And it seems like more people are trying to be pushed towards that, to the get procedures, get injections, or rot away in your bed, which I think is unfair, and I think is because not everybody can get injections, especially and not everybody can get injections successfully.
Mm-hmm.
There is a very wide range of people who get the injections and it does nothing for them. And it's awful that it's come to the point where you have to exercise every little thing before they will even offer you any type of pain medication. You have to exercise every little thing before you even have to, before you even get to go to pain management, you have to go jump through all these hoops to even get there. And I think that's something that's really disappointing, and I think should be done better.
It really should. I am, not to rub it in your face, like where I'm like, haha, I have a better pain management than you. No,
Yes,
but
but you have a broken hip. You have a broken
I
hip.
mean, yes, but I'm not saying that my pain is more than yours, because all pain is valid. it's real.
All
So,
pain is valid and it is
but
real.
I am glad that they have taken me seriously, and that I was able to get in to see them whenever I did. Um, and I'm just so sorry to all of those who don't have an outlet for, um, and they don't get the help that they need for their pain, because I can't imagine, like, I mean, I can't imagine what I would do if I, like,
You don't know what you would do if your pain wasn't managed the way that it was now.
yeah, like a like my hip joint broke off and was floating inside my body until they removed it. So, yeah, I'm in constant pain every single day. Um but I don't know. It's just crazy how you're literally telling somebody, you're like, I am in this pain, I'm in agony. You're just like, you're begging them for, for them to just do something. Like, he obviously, you've tried, you wouldn't have gone into the hospital in the first place if you already didn't try everything that you could do. So that is not on you, it's on whoever is taking care of you.
100%. If and I think that's a huge misconception. If you are in pain and you go to the hospital because you are in pain, we don't go to the hospital for funsies. We don't
Yeah,
go to
no.
the hospital because they have good food. We don't go to the hospital because we love the people there. We don't. That's not where we go to the hospital.
It's the last place I want to be.
That's literally the last place that I would ever want to be. Even though one time I had a really good sandwich at a hospital. I will say that. But it was from the cafeteria. But I mean, none of us want to go, especially people that have really bad anxiety. I mean, and if you're listening to this, you probably do.
Yeah.
Realistically,
And like,
it's
oh,
like the
sorry.
last it's like the last place you want to be. So I don't I don't understand why we aren't taken seriously when we go in, and we're like, our blood pressure's through the roof, our heart rate's through the roof, we're like, we're in pain, why don't you see that? I mean, even our body is saying that we're in pain a
Because
lot
your
of the
body,
time.
like, physically reacts to your pain, like that's when, because your blood pressure does spike, your heart rate spikes, because you're in pain, and it causes anxiety when, because your body's like, oh god, this hurts, this hurts, this hurts, do something, hello, you know um
Absolutely. And when you're in the hospital for anything with pain, it's hard to be there. And a lot of the time, for my pain, I kind of have this rule where I'm like, I try to manage it at home before I ever even think about stepping foot into a hospital. I need to try to manage it at home. If I can't manage it at home, then I need to set up a doctor's appointment. I would rather like sit in my bed with a heating pad than sit at a hospital without my, regular meds, without my cats, without my mom, without my sister, without good food. I would rather be here with my gummy sharks and my wife than at the hospital with some randos.
yeah, like, I have my favorite nurses because I'm a frequent flyer in the hospital. Like, after a surgery, I'm like, hey girl, I'm back. um but doesn't mean that I want to be in the hospital. I would rather just see them at the store, or um Not just while I'm in
talk
pain.
on Instagram or something. Speaking of Instagram, yeah, just so you guys know, we do have Instagram and TikTok. Please
Sure
go follow
do.
us there. It'll be linked down below in the description.
Yeah. So after that roller coaster of emotions, what better way to cope than exposing the weird stuff we've convinced ourselves is totally fine?
It's time for things I pretend are normal because if I admit how many naps I take, they may revoke my adult license. Guys, I'm gonna admit something to you. I take showers in multiple days. Guys, you might be wondering, chat, 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 drop it down below how many days it takes you to shower. It takes me like 3 days because, like, I wash my hair one day and then I wash my body another day. You know what? Buy baby wipes. If you have chronic pain, buy baby wipes.
Or
They
there's bath wipes too that you can
bath
get.
wipes, baby wipes, no
Do a
rinse
bed bath.
soap. Oh my gosh, that is literally a lifesaver.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can still look sexy and be in pain. Okay, just so you know that you can do your hair. Yeah, you can do it in your bed. It doesn't matter. Okay, you can take a wet wipe. Clean everything. They have like soap that is no rinse. You just whoosh, like you don't have to sit there and be like, "Oh my gosh, I just can't do it today." Just take that baby wipe and it's just the one thing and it'll make you feel so much better. It'll make you feel so much cleaner. It'll make you feel like you've taken a shower.
It's better than nothing.
It really is better than nothing. And it's good for the interim, especially on those high pain days where you're like, I just can't do it. I just can't do it.
Or, hear me out. You just don't take a shower that day and wait until you feel better because that's also perfectly valid.
That is perfectly valid. But like if you're one of those people like me that like when your hair gets like oily or something and it starts to get itchy, like just wash your hair in your bed.
Mm-hmm.
That is valid. You can do that. Learn that you have free will, okay?
Use it.
Use that free
Period.
will. Period. Your great grandfather fought for that. Your grandma, she fought for that. Make his ghost proud, girl. Slay. You better work, girl. Jesus died for your sins, girl. Judas denied him 3 times, girl. You better work.
Still in love with Judas, baby.
Walk that duck. Sit that duck. Scoot that duck.
Y'all better scoot that duck.
You better scoot that duck, baby. Okay.
Because you were born this way.
Because you were born this way.
Put your paws up and you better scoot that fucking duck. Because you were born this way.
Put your paws up because you have toenails, baby. Lord, I ask you. Lord, I ask you to scoot this duck across the room. God, I'm fat and funny.
Fat funny friend, if you even care.
It's time for things I pretend are normal because if I admit how many naps I take, they may revoke my adult license. Okay, so one thing that I think is totally normal is eating 2 pounds of gummy sharks and splitting up my showers into 3 days. What about you?
Same. Okay. I would say sleeping with my baby pillow. I still sleep with my baby pillow. I cannot sleep without it.
Understandable, totally valid.
I think it's valid.
I want you guys to share yours down in the comments. DM us, whatever you want to do, whatever you guys feel like doing. We might share some in the next segment, the next episode. Got it.
Unless you want to not have us read
Share
it
it.
in the next episode. Like you can
That's
put
up to
do
you.
not share. or something. I don't know.
That's up to you.
Yeah,
All right.
up to you. So we've spent a lot of time pretending things are normal, but you know what? Screw that.
Exactly. It's time to take back control because you have free will, baby. Because we get to define our own narrative. No more hiding or apologizing.
Welcome to Reclaim the Narrative, where we stop letting everyone else tell us what's normal and we start writing our own rules. Because we were born this way, baby.
Let's see. Something that I'm reclaiming. Recently, I'm reclaiming. Girl, you know what something is that I'm reclaiming. Okay, so I've been going through the process of getting disability. Getting disability isn't failing life, okay? Because, I spent so much time thinking, oh, if I fill out this application, I'm putting the towel in, I'm giving up, you're not. You're not giving up. Do you know how long this application takes? It's been 2 years already. Almost 3. It's been almost 3 years, and I still haven't been approved, for one. That's crazy. For two, you can still live uh your life. You're still allowed to do fun things.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you say you have it, sent in by the government that you're disabled doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be fun and quirky and yourself. Okay? I thought maybe it was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When I was first filling it out, I was like, I don't want to send it in because I feel like that's just me like giving up on myself. That's not true. You're not giving up on yourself. You're not like throwing in the towel. It's not you saying, "Oh, I'm giving up. The disability has taken over me. The disability demons have taken me hostage and they've put me in shackles. They're taking me away." That's not what's happening. It's just you saying that you need help, and that's okay. That's valid. It's okay that you need help. It's okay. It's okay,
It is.
bestie. Bestie.
It's okay, bestie.
Bestie. It's okay that you need help, and it's okay to ask for help. Asking for help does not equal failure. Because you want to know somebody who didn't ask for help and now has broken bones?
You didn't have to call me out like that. That's true.
So always ask for help.
Because both times I broke my bones, it was because I didn't ask for help when I needed help.
You can always ask for help. And if you feel like, if you have those kinds of friends who are like, oh, I'm not gonna help you, blah 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 blah. They're not your friends. They're not actually supporting you. We're your friends now. We're gonna try to be here like once a week, but you can always DM us. You can always follow us on our socials. Our socials, mates. Follow us on our socials, mates.
Shout out Tab.
Follow us on our socials.
She's British. She's British. I have British best friends, guys. Guys, it's okay. I have British best friends.
Guys, it's okay. We have British friends. Anyways, what are you reclaiming?
Okay, something I'm reclaiming is you can have your mess. Like, I have my mess. Let me explain. A lot of stuff on my bed, but too. I know where everything is. So if somebody tried to help me clean up, I wouldn't know where anything was anymore, and then I would panic and freak out, and when I don't know where my usual things are, I freak out. It's like it's
suffocating.
Yeah, it's suffocating. I know that sounds dramatic. But that's how we feel when there's a change in routine. It's not a vibe,
it's a symptom.
Yeah, when there's a change in routine and something that like the location of, and it's always been there and it's been there for a long time, and then somebody comes in and moves it and you don't know where it is. Mental breakdown.
Distraught.
Yeah. Anyway.
That is it for episode 2. Thank you for sharing your stories, your time, and your chaos with us.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, review, share with someone who needs to hear that they're not alone. And we'll see you next time
on
on Chronic and Chaotic.
Chaotic.